Welcome, everyone. We're going to call this meeting to order at 4 p.m. Adoption of the agenda.
That West Elgin Council hereby adopts the regular council agenda for September 25th, 2025 as presented.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Number 3, disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Seeing none, we go to 4. J. Mascarin, a presentation of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Report. Welcome to West Elgin. If you'd carry on with your report, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is John Mascarin. I'm a partner with Airden Burles in Toronto. We are the Integrity Commissioner for the municipality of West Elgin. I'm here today in that capacity. I have prepared a report for you, which is based on an application made under the Municipal Act alleging that Council Member Bill Denning contravened the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act by participating in a discussion dealing with the Rodney Cemetery that council considered on August the 14th of this year. The the matter before council was a report from one of your staff members that indicated that the municipality was considering accepting the responsibility for the Rodney Cemetery. The difficulty with the matter is that your council member, Mr. Councillor Denning, is a secretary treasurer of a group of trustees for the Rodney Cemetery. Councillor Denning, at the meeting, just like you asked, Mr. Mayor, did anyone have any declarations of pecuniary interest? Councillor Denning raised his hand and he said, I have, but not a pecuniary interest, but perhaps a conflict of interest. He's indicated, I will remain silent and be voting and not be voting, but I will certainly be available for questions during that discussion. Let me say this to members of council. That is a problem. A member cannot do that when they have a pecuniary interest. They cannot participate in the decision-making process at all. That is the essence of the application that was properly filed against Councillor Denning. Once again, the matter before council was a report from the Manager of Infrastructure and Development that addressed the question of whether West Elgin Council accepts the responsibility and ownership of the Rodney Cemetery. So the allegations are set out in the report there. I've provided my the provisions of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act that are alleged to have been breached. The pecuniary interest that Councillor Denning had is arises under Section 2A3 of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, and it's an indirect pecuniary interest because of his involvement as the Secretary Treasurer of the Rodney Cemetery. A member does not need to have a direct financial interest in a matter, as long as they have a pecuniary interest, which can be direct. That means it impacts the member directly. It can be deemed, meaning that a family member has the pecuniary interest, but it's deemed to be the members. Or, as in this case, the member could have some sort of connection or association with another body that has a financial interest. And the Rodney Cemetery, the trustees did have a financial interest in this matter. So the difficulty is that Councillor Denning did not declare a pecuniary interest. And interestingly enough, he indicated that he had a conflict of interest and that he wouldn't participate except to answer questions if asked. Now, I have a problem with that because when the time came after the manager of infrastructure had given his presentation, Mr. Mayor, you did ask if anyone had any questions. And no one asked any questions at that time. And yet Councillor Denning decided that he would participate in the discussion. Now, as part of our inquiry into this matter, we provided Councillor Denning with an opportunity to provide a response. He did. He indicated that he did not act out of malice. He did not act out of self-interest. He was simply trying to provide advice to council. That does not excuse the contravention. The problem is, and it's been made very clear, and I've cited a number of cases, the preclusion in the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act in Section 5 says that you are not to disclose, you are to disclose a pecuniary interest, and then you are to recuse yourself from participating in any way and attempting to influence the voting. So that's where Councillor Denning, in my estimation, has contravened the statute. He provided a full response. We provided his response to the applicant who filed the application, and then we gave Councillor Denning one more opportunity because after having looked at the record, it was our determination that Councillor Denning appeared to have breached the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. So we gave him a draft copy of the report that you have in front of you, as it existed at that time, and gave the councillor one final opportunity to make final submissions. And you'll see that he made submissions at paragraph G at paragraph 33 of our report, starting at the middle of page 6. For the first time, the member raised two exceptions that he believed would apply. In our estimation, neither exception did apply, and the reasoning for that is set out in the report. Our analysis was that the Rodney Cemetery had a pecuniary interest in the matter of the council accepting the responsibility for the continued maintenance of the cemetery. Therefore, Councillor Denning, as the secretary-treasurer of the trustees of the Rodney Cemetery, had an attributed pecuniary interest, and he had to disclose it and step away. And he didn't do either of those. And that's the problem. Okay. So we found that the exceptions did not apply. And if you look at our findings, you'll see that we did consider a number of factors. We did consider that Councillor Denning is a first-time member of council. But it is our view that he ought to have been acutely aware of his statutory obligations for the following reasons. Before taking office, he swore an oath of office where he would disclose pecuniary interest, direct or indirect, in accordance with the Act. He had declared previous pecuniary interest, which were registered by the clerk on the registry of the municipality. He had attended council training on January 30th, 2023 that I provided to the council, and I spoke specifically about indirect pecuniary interest. And then finally, he received written advice from me. I wrote to him on April the 1st. I'm sorry. He wrote to me on April the 1st requesting advice on the specific matter. He asked And he disclosed that he was the secretary-treasurer for a group of trustees that governed the Rodney Cemetery. And he asked, could he participate in any deliberations or discussion on the potential transfer of responsibility? We wrote back to him the next day, and you'll see part of my response is listed at paragraph 68. I wrote, it is my opinion that you do have an indirect pecuniary interest in the matter of the transfer to the municipality. And based on the foregoing, it is my advice that you do have an indirect pecuniary interest and that you therefore must comply with the disclosure and recusal obligations under Section 5 of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. My advice couldn't have been clearer, and it was only given a mere 3+ months before August the 14th, when the meeting took place. So I have some real trouble excusing the contravention of Councillor Denning here. You'll see that I use rather strong language to counter Councillor Denning's response and submissions to me that, oh, he merely used imprecise language and that he didn't intend to do anything wrong. I've indicated that, in fact, I believe he has a profound misunderstanding of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. And Mr. Mayor, members of council, the reason why I asked to attend today is I thought this would provide a teaching opportunity. I thought that this would highlight to Councillor Denning, as well as to other members of council, that you have to be a little more cognizant of your responsibilities under the Act. I quite honestly do not see an excuse that was viable for Councillor Denning. And I do want to make one further reference. In his final submissions to me, he wrote that the responsibility and ownership of the Rodney Cemetery, it was an inevitable transition into the care of the municipality. And he wrote, it's important to understand that this transition is not optional. This is set out in paragraph 80. When trustees determine that they can no longer operate the cemetery, the municipality must assume responsibility. I was not trying to influence the decision, as the outcome is non-negotiable. My goal was simply to help make the process smooth. I disagree fundamentally with that. As you see at paragraph 81, I said, these are not correct statements. Any person who's responsible for a cemetery must make an application to the court to have the cemetery determined to be an abandoned cemetery before the municipality can assume responsibility. So it was a negotiable matter, and the whole entire reason why the report was in front of council was for council to make a decision on the matter. Council could have said, no, we're not accepting the Rodney Cemetery at this time. Then it would have required the trustees to take additional steps. So that adds to the problem with attempting to influence the voting, which, in my view, Councillor Denning attempted to do when he spoke, not in answer to any questions, but voluntarily he decided to venture in, and that's a real problem. So ultimately, Mr. Mayor, members of council, it is my view that Councillor Denning has contravened the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. However, unlike a code of conduct report that may come in front of you, where we as the Integrity Commissioner may find that someone has breached the code of conduct, we then make recommendations to you. In this case, under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, that realm, we do not make representations to you, and we do not make recommendations. We actually make a decision. It's the one time in the statute for the Integrity Commissioner, where the Integrity Commissioner actually makes a decision. And our decision is, do we go to court to find that the member has contravened the act and ask for an imposition of a penalty? And by the way, the imposition of the penalty could be removal from office. Or do we decide not to go to court? In my view, I have decided not to go to court. And my reasoning is set out in my report. You'll see at paragraph 85, I conclude that the counselor blatantly contravened his duty of disclosure and his recusal obligations. He intervened and attempted to involve himself in a matter that he shouldn't have. However, a matter to the court is not an inexpensive proposition. And so, on this basis, we did consider that the member is a first-time member of council, that the applicant did not make a request for the respondent member to be removed. The applicant merely asked if the respondent could acknowledge the wrongdoing, which, in my estimation, Councillor Denning has. He's made those statements to me in his representations. I did not want to impose an additional financial burden on the taxpayers of the municipality to go to court. I believe that this would create a disruption to both council and to the councillor for the remainder of the term. It would be a likely time-consuming exercise that could not be completed in a matter of a few months. And ultimately, it might not lead to sanctions that some people would consider would be commensurate with the contravention that was made. So, for those reasons, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I have made the decision not to go to court, but I want to urge Councillor Denning and all members of council to please be mindful of your obligations under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. They are serious. There are reasons why a member should not act in their self-interest or in the interest of other groups in which they have some sort of connection. Please be aware that a pecuniary interest is not just, did I personally benefit? It could be, did this group of which I am a member or a director or an officer or an employee, do they have a pecuniary interest and I'm connected with them? You need to step away from that. The only other comment, Mr. Mayor, that I would like to make is we would like to ask if and suggest, I'm not making a recommendation, but I'm suggesting that the councillor should make a public commitment to the council and the residents of the municipality to do better. He's made that commitment to me in writing, and I commend him for doing that. I would like to hear something from him that he will henceforth be very mindful of his obligations. So, in conclusion, I'd like to say that it was disappointing to me to see what happened in this case. I did want to point it out, and I thank you for the opportunity to come today and to speak to it. I'm not going to make an application to the court, as I've indicated, and I would like to ask council also to make the registry of written statements and declarations that is required under section 6.1 of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. I would like the municipality to make it searchable and to be online so it can be looked at by anyone who is interested. So, Mr. Mayor and members of council, I will stand down, but I'd be pleased to answer any questions that anyone might have with respect to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I'm going to go to council and ask if there's any questions. Actually, I'm seeing none. Bill, have you got anything to say on the matter? Councillor Denning, can you please speak?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. And thank you, Mr. Mascaron, for the time that you've shared with me. Mayor, fellow councillor, staff, and residents of West Elgin, I'd like to acknowledge the findings of the Integrity Commissioner regarding my conduct at the August 14th, 2025 council meeting. The Commissioner has concluded that I contravened the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act by failing to properly disclose an indirect pecuniary interest, by participating in discussion, and by attempting to influence the vote on a matter involving the Rodney Cemetery, which I serve as Secretary-Treasurer of its Board of Trustees. I also failed to file the required written statement of disclosure. I accept these findings fully and without reservation, and I offer my sincere apology to council, staff, and the residents of West Elgin. I regret the confusion and concern my actions caused, and I understand that public trust is earned through transparency, accountability, and respect for the rules that govern our work. I failed to meet that standard, and I take full responsibility. I am reminded today of the foundational principles of the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, the importance of integrity, independence, and accountability in local government decision-making, the importance of certainty in reconciling public duties and private interest, and the expectation that members perform their duties with integrity and impartiality in a manner that will bear the closest scrutiny. I have reread the statute, reviewed the Commissioner's advice, and commit to ensuring full compliance with all conflict of interest obligations moving forward. I will be more deliberate, more prepared, and more respectful of the process that safeguard our integrity as public servants. I thank the Integrity Commissioner for his thorough review. I also thank the applicant for their thoughtful request that I make this public statement and commit to future compliance. I remain deeply committed to serving this community with humility, integrity, and a renewed sense of responsibility. Thank you for your understanding.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I thank you, Mr. Mascarin, for coming on today. And I'm sure that council and myself have all inwardly digested exactly what you've said, and we will be careful in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor and members of council, for the opportunity to present today. I greatly appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, just one last comment for me is, if any council member is uncertain of their obligations, then they can always reach out to us as the Integrity Commissioner, and we can provide you with specific, particularized advice on any particular matter dealing with the Code of Conduct, any other ethical policy, or the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. That's within the scope of our services. So thank you again, Mr. Mayor and members of council.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receive the report dated September 19th, 2025 from John Mascarin, Airden Burles LLP regarding Integrity Commissioner Report, Municipal Conflict of Interest Act Application 2025-01.
Move it, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. So we go to 5. A public meeting, zoning amendments and applications. Could I have the recommendation, please? This is to go into it.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby proceed into a public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act.
Move it, please. Move it, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Application D-14 8-2025. Robert? Mr. Robert Brown, could you take over, please?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Good afternoon to everyone in the gallery and around the council table. The application before you is for a property located at 13904 Graham Road. Back in July of this year, the Land Division Committee approved the severance of an existing dwelling as surplus to the farming operation of the purchasing farmer. A number of conditions were attached to that approval, one of which was a zoning amendment, which is required in order to maintain compliance with both local and provincial planning regulations. What the zoning amendment does in this particular case is prohibits any further dwellings from being constructed on the farm parcel. Farming activities can continue, as well as any associated farm buildings, just not residential uses. And also the severed parcel itself is rezoned to recognize that it's no longer part of a full-scale agricultural operation. In this particular instance, there was a couple of items that had to be addressed once the final official survey was received. The setback for the building that is remaining on the property was about half of the requirement. Normally, accessory buildings on these lots have to be 3 meters from the lot line. In this case, there's one location where it's about half that at 1.5 meters, and then larger as you go around the building. However, it still allows enough room for ongoing maintenance. This is always a tricky issue because you're trying to obviously minimize the size of the lot and maximize the amount of active farmland. But in this particular case, this was the most logical configuration for the property to keep provide enough room for access around the building. We actually gained a little active farmland because there was some removal of items on the farm itself. So the zoning amendment in that particular case was appropriate. Also, the side yard of the existing dwelling was slightly under the requirement, and that's been recognized in the zoning bylaw as well. The application was circulated to all neighbors within 120 meters, signs posted on the property as well as posted on the municipal website. The zoning request complies with both the county and West Elgin official plan and provincial policy. And unless there are questions from council or the public, that is all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the public? Council, any questions? Seeing none. Could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14 8/2025, recommendation report, planning report 2025-20. And that West Elgin Council approved the rezoning of 13904 Graham Road from general agricultural A1 to agricultural A2 and restricted agricultural special regulation 10 A3-10 in accordance with the attached draft bylaw. And further, that West Elgin Council consider an amendment to the zoning bylaw as presented in the bylaw portion of the September 25th, 2025 council agenda.
Thank you. Could I have a mover, please? Deputy Mayor Tellier, seconded. Councillor Statham, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. And then we go to 5.2, application D-14 9-2025. Robert, it's over to you again, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The property is located at 22525 Pioneer Line. The farm is located in the southeast corner of the intersection of Furnival Road and Pioneer Line. Council may recall that during our deliberations on the update to the official plan, a portion of this property was requested to be brought into the settlement area. And through that review process, these lands, as well as a portion of the lands to the west of this, were brought into the settlement area. The initial step that was taken once that official plan was approved by the county was for the applicant to submit a severance application to the Land Division Committee to separate the lands that were designated from the lands that were not. That was approved by the Land Division Committee at the June meeting this year. There were a number of conditions again attached to that, and one of those was to rezone the property from its current A1 agricultural zone to a future residential zone. This is a zone that's used quite often for this exact purpose when lands are sort of towards the outer edge of the municipality, but not yet perhaps ready for development. This identifies those lands not just from an official plan standpoint, but from a use standpoint as to what the intended long-term use is. The parcel itself encompasses 23.6 acres. It is again right at the corner. It has frontage on both Pioneer and Furnival. There are no immediate development plans on the property currently, just simply to prepare it for potential sale. It's been reviewed in the context of provincial policy, the county official plan, and the local official plan, and is in compliance. I will note, however, that due to a kind of a bit of a delay between the county official plan being approved and ours being adopted and approved, the mapping for the official plan does not actually reflect at the county level that the portion of these lands that are subject to the zoning are actually zoned residential. I brought that up as an issue with both our CAO and the director of planning services for the county, and he has acknowledged that and indicated because there was a bit of a delay between them adopting their plan and us getting ours approved. That mapping may not have been updated. That'll be taken to GIS and make that necessary update. But as I mentioned, they did approve the severance on the basis that those lands were approved and that the official plan was approved. So there was no issues that way and no issues with proceeding with the zoning, knowing that mapping had been approved by the county. One side effect of the severance of this property was it was going to somewhat reorient the lot. With corner lots, you have to take the shortest frontage. The shortest frontage in this particular instance is Pioneer Line. And just to make sure both parcels remain compliant with the zoning bylaw, special provision was added to recognize reduced lot frontage as existing on the date of passing of this bylaw going forward. The application was circulated to everyone within 120 meters. No comments were received. Outside agencies were circulated. No additional comments were received that were not addressed as part of the severance application. As well, the notice was posted on the website and sign was posted on the property. So unless there are questions from the public or council, that is all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. The applicant or public comment? Council comments? Seeing none, could I have the recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robert Brown, planner, regarding zoning bylaw amendment application D14-9/2025, recommendation report, planning report 2025-21, and that West Elgin Council approve the rezoning of 22525 Pioneer Line from General Agricultural A1 to General Agricultural Special Regulation 11, A1-11, zone and future residential FR in accordance with the attached draft bylaw, and that West Elgin Council consider an amendment to the zoning bylaw as presented in the bylaw portion of the September 25th, 2025 council agenda.
A mover, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Now adjournment of the public meeting. Planning Act.
And that West Elgin Council hereby adjourn the public meeting pursuant to the Planning Act.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, so we go to 6, which is a public meeting, consideration of 2 miscible drains.
That West Elgin Council hereby proceed into a public meeting pursuant to the Drainage Act.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Councillor Statham, seconded. All in favour? That's carried. Okay, so we go to the engineer's report dated September the 3rd, 2025, re the Fluor and Drain extension. John Michael, welcome. If you can
Thank
take
you,
it
Your
from there,
Worship.
please.
Yes, Your Worship. This afternoon's meeting is the consideration of the Fluor and Drain extension. This was a drain that we constructed last year and we stopped on the north side of the county road. The landowner, Mr. Tate, R&A Tate, they would like the drain extended across the road. And then further to that, since they decided to extend the drain across the road, Mr. McGill, who owns lands to the west, requested a branch to service a portion of his lands. So really what we're doing is we're extending the drain across the road and we're constructing a small branch over to the McGill lands through the Tate lands. It's all closed drain. The boring under a road and a 200 millimeter diameter pipe with a few catch basins to collect surface water. Are there any questions, Your Worship?
Is there any landowner or public comment on that? Any questions from council? Seeing none. Can we have the recommendation then, please?
The recommendation is that the Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby receives the engineer's report as prepared and presented by Mr. J.M. Spree, professional engineer, and that council authorizes staff to initiate the tender process in accordance with the Drainage Act as required for the construction of the municipal drain known as the Flurin Drain Extension to be considered by council following the quarter revision, and that the quarter revision be scheduled for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. And that council consider the provisional bylaw 2025-54 as presented in the bylaw portion of the agenda for the first and second reading.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Denning, all in favour? That's carried, thank you. Then we go to engineer's report dated September the 3rd, 2025. The Mills Drain. John Michael, it's over to you again, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Today's meeting is the consideration of the Mills Drain. The Mills Drain is an existing open drain that starts at Pioneer Line and runs south, predominantly through the lands of 10000728 Ontario Inc., owned by the Simons, and runs through and across to Kerr Road and has a little portion. We're here because a request was signed by Mr. Simon. A portion of the drain that's just south of Pioneer Line, the ditch bisects his field, makes it difficult for farming. So he requested an enclosure through his lands. So we're proposing to enclose a portion of the drain, about 296 meters of drain with a closed tile. We'll have a catch basin to collect the surface water, and we'll grade a swale over the top of it to collect any excess surface water. Because this is a request for an enclosure, generally on a typical municipal drain, the costs are shared for the construction amongst the watershed. But since Mr. Simon will be the benefiting landowner and he will essentially gain more land by this, he's paying all the costs of this report. Are there any questions, Your Worship?
Okay, thank you. Landowner, public comments? Seeing none. Councillor questions? Seeing none. Can I have the recommendation, please?
Recommendation is that the Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby receives the engineer's report as prepared and presented by Mr. J.M. Spree, professional engineer, and that council authorizes staff to initiate the tender process in accordance with the Drainage Act as required for the construction of the municipal drain known as the Mills Drain to be considered by council following the quarter revision, and that the quarter revision be scheduled for Thursday, October 23rd, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. And that council consider the provisional bylaw 2025-55, as presented in the bylaw portion of the agenda for the first and second reading.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great
Okay.
evening.
And you, thank you. And we go to 6.3, adjournment of the public meeting, the Drainage Act.
That West Elgin Council hereby adjourn the public meeting pursuant to the Drainage Act.
Mover, please. Councillor Denning, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried, thank you. Okay, so we go to 7, delegations. Jason DeCosta, rewater line charge for new residential building.
Either one of the, if you just want to, pop on a microphone. Thank you. Yeah, just the button.
Okay, appreciate it. I just go. Okay, appreciate it. Okay, so first off, yeah, thanks for taking the time to hear me out today. This is my first time speaking at something like this, so pre-apologies if I'm not following any normal protocol or but the situation that I'm dealing with right now is so extreme that I just felt like I had to come and say something. So there's two main kind of issues that I want to bring forward. One is my personal situation, which is associated with this recent connection fee increase for water from $1,300 to $15,000 in order to just get drinking water. So, and then secondly, there's this kind of like overall economic impact of charging the highest connection fee in the surrounding area. So first off, most obviously, like I'm most concerned about my personal situation. So I'm going to start there. So when planning to build my home, I'd asked my builder to give me some estimates on connection fees in order to make sure we had enough money on hand to physically do the build. So the estimate I was given was based on the publicly available information, which was $1,300 to do the connection fee. So, and at the same time, I also had to look at the same information while doing my own research on the website. So, and then on August 21st, which was we're well into the build, they actually ran the line out to the road and everything at that point. I received a call from Mike Coletta asking me if I knew how expensive the connection fees were going to be for our property. And he had called me because he actually farms my land and works in the kind of utilities division here. So he knew we were building on the property. So then he just called me up and asked me if I knew about it. And I was like, yeah, no problem. We already did that research. We're good. And my builder and I both did it. We know the fees. And then he told me that it was recently increased from $1,300 to $15,000. And also that the line was buried under the middle of the road. So we needed to dig that up as well, which to be honest, during that conversation, I think the word ridiculous was used multiple times, but in a follow-up conversation to that, I asked Mike kind of directly for the bylaw that showed the $15,000 rate, and like he directly provided it to me because I could not find it anywhere online searching around. And then once I had it, then I even searched the website for the exact bylaw number, and it was nowhere anywhere on the site. So the site wasn't updated until September 13th when I started emailing, and Terry had I've been emailing Terry about the issue. She emailed me back confirming and apologizing that the website had not been updated with the appropriate pricing. And then also the bylaw is now on the website. So this change to publicly available information was well after the permit for my build was issued, and we did all of the necessary kind of pricing and figuring out if I had enough money. So ultimately, I think the municipality needs to take responsibility for not making this over 1,000% increase known to the public. And we can't just make a decision that's this drastic and then just kind of file it in a cabinet somewhere and not tell the public about it. So the citizens of the community are relying on the information you make public to make their planning decisions. So, and also included in kind of my personal situation is just, in my opinion, the poor planning decision to run the line down the middle of the road, which is going to be another $15,000 of cost that I have to deal with. And I received an email from David regarding this. And in that response, he told me that the reason for routing underneath the road was because the lines that were kind of feeding the water treatment plant going to the water treatment plant were kind of put there first. And then afterwards, the line kind of going out was installed afterwards. But I mean, honestly, that still feels like a very poor planning decision, given that there's a subdivision down the road. So it should have been generally assumed that there would have to be a line out to feed water for the needs of that subdivision. But so these points I mean, considered, I feel like the municipality should be granting a significant fee reduction for my personal situation, given that it's going to be $30,000 like plus sales tax to receive to just grant a resident basic necessity of drinking water. So so that's my personal situation. The second part here is just a more general economics portion, and it's like this $15,000 fee is the highest of all of the municipalities in the area. So part of David's response to me was that he mentioned Dutton was 11,500 and then Southold was 10,800. So those are still decently high, but so I did some chat GPT in and pulling some other neighboring communities around. And so Malahide is 7,500, Southwest Middlesex is 6,000, Strathroy is 1,000, and Brook Albinston is 3,500. So West Elgin is significantly higher than all of the other municipalities. And even if I use the highest rate there, the rates are over 30% higher than the next municipality in line. And they're more than, if I take the average of those numbers, you guys are more than 120% over the average of all the municipalities I pulled. So I think we can agree on the consensus across the entire country that we're in a bit of a housing crisis now, and the politicians have been elected and running on campaigns that reduce red tape in order to build more. And this $15,000 price is extremely counterproductive to what this municipality and our country needs right now. So there's a few other points that I made in the letter that I already previously sent out. But just in the interest of time, I'll leave those out for now. But that's my spiel. Not sure where it goes from here.
Okay, thank you. Has anybody got any comments? I've just got a comment, you know, as a house builder, like I've built houses,
Sure.
and I had 3 connections on number 3 highway. It cost me a lot of money, and at least I thought it put value on the houses. On the same token, I put 2 houses in the country with no mains. I put them on deep well. They cost me 30,000 each, plus that's just to go down in the ground to find me water. So when I look at 15,000, I'm sorry, but it doesn't seem too bad when you've had to pay 30 to have a hole dug in the ground.
I get that.
And another thing is, if it went through a bylaw is always public.
So where is that held? Where is it publicly available?
Well, I'd have to have staff that.
Okay.
Yes, Councillor Denny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through the chair. Is it in fact the case that a fee that was $3,500 has gone to 15,000, or is there more nuance to that?
It's 1,300.
So thank you. 13 to 15 is, maybe we can take this opportunity to understand it a little better.
Yep. Our original $1,300 or $1,200 charge that was with our water service fee was something that was established in the 90s. So over time, that the cost of doing business has gone up. The number of residents in the municipality also drive that number as well. So we're a low resident municipality, low number of people on water main. So that's part of the cost as well, because the cost doesn't get spread out as well as other surrounding areas sometimes. So that's the main reason of the jump of the price was, if you were to, like the mayor said, dig a well, like that's reflected in that versus what the cost is. So. Any other further questions?
So can I?
Yes, carry on.
Okay, I appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, I guess I get that the will is expensive, but I mean, is there not some sort of aspect here where, like, it's posted as $1,300? Is there not sort of like that you need to be transparent in what you're showing the public? So we went through this thing, like I've held this piece of property for 4 years because we haven't had enough money to build on it. So I get that what you're talking about is not big dollars in aspect of you're building a lot of houses and you kind of have that capital cash flow, but we budgeted in a certain way that we knew what the costs were coming here, and we used the information that are at hand in order to do so. So I don't exactly, I can show you my bank account. I don't have $15,000 just laying around that I'm gonna just do this. So, and I guess I get the comment on the like lesser houses in order to kind of spread the cost around, but is this not counterproductive? Like, we're increasing the cost to build a piece of, to build in this area. So if you decrease those costs, you should have more residents come in, just theoretically, right? I mean, so like setting these fees really high is actually making it counterproductive to be able to spread those costs around.
Councillor Statham.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through you, 2 points there that I wanted to address. First of all, as a municipality, I think it's really important that we cover our costs. So I agree with you. It would be great if we had more residents moving into the municipality. If we have more development, then we have more tax base. That's phenomenal. I agree. However, if we're losing money on every single property because our rate is $1,300, and where it should be closer to 10,000 or 15,000. If we're losing money on every single residence that we build, then we're going to dig ourselves into a hole. And that additional financial benefit of having those tax dollars is not going to be beneficial. So that's the first point. The second point that I wanted to get at, and you made it very, very well. I personally agree with the homeowner. I don't think it's fair if you make all of these plans to build a home and have it connected to water, and you're going on what is posted as our cost for a water connection fee, and it hasn't been updated, and then you go to do that, and while it is still not updated, you're found that it's increased by, I looked it up, 1,053% increase without any notification. I don't think that's correct. I think that's wrong. So those are the 2 points that I would make on this point. I would agree with you on the point that you made about 1,000% increase without any notification. You made all these plans, you built the house or are planning to build the house, you go to connect the water, all of a sudden overnight it's gone up 1,000%. There's no notification of that. I agreed. I don't think that's right. I disagree with you on the second point.
Yeah.
I think that the costs need to be what the costs need to be to make sure that we're being that the municipality is going to float.
Yeah.
Once we increase developments. So
One thing we can check is that since that new bylaw came in and put that price on, that new houses that have been connected to water, what they have paid, and I believe it to be the 15, but we'll check that to make sure that they haven't got the same, because
Okay.
do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but at the same time, like those other houses could have not been in the similar situation. They could have been similar to the situation that you're talking about, where you're like building a bunch of houses and you have excess cash flow and it's not going to be that big of a deal. So my situation is a lot different than that situation. And so on the losing money comment, first off, I appreciate that you see the issue with the stuff not being updated, but on the losing money comment, like this fee is not directly related to like actual construction or doing any work on site. It is literally just a fee that kind of goes in some sort of fund and then potentially down the road gets kind of spent. But it's not like the municipality's losing money right now in order to like upkeep and kind of stay afloat type of stuff, right? Like this is just a fee. It's just there's no actual work. Like the digging out the road and the $15,000 that I got to pay to do all that, that's like construction work that's like physically happening. That I get it. There's work happening there and there's costs associated with that. But that's why like on the losing money, I don't think there's any like money lost.
Well, we'll look at this further. That's all I can say. And we've been going about 12 minutes, which is over time for
Is it okay?
delegation.
Yeah, I don't.
And okay, we'll look at this further.
Okay, and then somebody will just get back to me via email or something of the sort.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I appreciate the time and
Thank
yeah.
Okay, so we go to 8, adoption of the minutes.
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby adopts the minutes of September 11th, 2025 as presented.
A mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded, Deputy Mayor Tellier. All in favour? That's carried, thank you. Business arising from the minutes. Seeing none. So we go to 10, which is staff reports from the Chief Administration Officer. Robin, over to you, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The report that's before you today is addressing the renovations of the West Lorne Community Center and the West Elgin Library. Council received a report back in September 2024 from the Elgin County Council approving the expansion of the West Lorne Library facility. At that time, it was deemed the next steps would be for council to approve the design and costing. On March 13th, before council gave a recommendation to at least explore renovating not only the library, which would be taking in an unutilized piece of this building, but also to look at renovating the washrooms to bring them up to AODA standards for 2025. And then also looking at the renovations of the general council space in order to make sure that it is a secure space for council meetings to occur. We did reach out to Spreet and Associates. Spreet broke the renovations into 3 different phases, so council could see individual costs. But then they also provided what it would be or the cost if the renovation were to occur all at once, be it that once you already have construction teams on site, that they're able to better utilize their time, energy, and resources. Therefore, it is a cheaper adventure. So council, the report that was presented to you showed that if we were to break this into 3 phases, so just to have the library be $159,465. Washrooms, AODA, that would be make 1 AODA, the others would be gender neutral. Access, making sure they're secure, be 181,000, and then council chambers is 102,000 or 110,000. Those are my rough estimates. If we were to do the project all together, there would be a cost savings of approximately 20%. And their estimate, which Spreets tends to give us the estimate on the up limits, this would still need to be tendered. So these are not the final dollars. These are just what the estimates would be for renovations at $360,515.84. Council, for your consideration, we do have access to a $100,000 interest-free loan from the County of Elgin for renovations of library. So that is accessible to you for the renovation of the library space. Recognition that renovation of the library increases the square footage. We do have a contract between the county and the lower municipalities that we own the facilities. We are responsible for the capital upgrades of the facilities for the library. However, we do rent them the space, and we do so at $17.91 per square foot. This is annually, not monthly. So we do have an additional revenue increase of $10,000 for the expansion of the library space. Council, if there's consideration of doing all of these rooms, I would recommend it would best do it all at once. One that's less disruption of service to our community members, being able to access this facility at 3 different times. To take advantage of a 20% increase. And then it brings this building up to sort of AOD standards and for security and use of our residents. So with that, Mr. Mayor, if there are any questions.
Thank you. I'm sure we'll have questions from council. Yeah, Councillor Statham, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. I just wondered, are there, when I'm looking at when I'm looking at this, are there any grants that may be available to assist with the renovation of a library? Is that something that might be possible to look into?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Well, there's certainly grants, whether we would be available for them. That would also delay when we start this project. So then council would need to defer and allow the library a time to understand. We can explore that. We can explore. I don't know any off the top of my head that we would be able to utilize. A lot of times there are grants for things like AODA and other standards that we can explore. We would just have to make sure that we're meeting the timeline of the grant.
But the county does put money into it, don't they?
Well, the county provides us $100,000 interest-free. It's not a grant, it is a loan.
Interest-free loan.
Interest-free loan.
Yeah.
So yes, we can explore grants, but that would impact the timing of the build because generally we have to have approval of the grants before any funding or cost is outlaid.
Thanks, Robin. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Tellier, please.
Thank you, and through the chair, thank you so much to our CAO, Robin Greenall, for that great report and all the information in it. Since we've have made our agenda public, I've had a lot of uproar. Why are we putting money into a building that seems to be fine? I know we have a obligation to upgrade our washrooms up to AODA standards, but we need water infrastructure. We have an old town hall that we haven't made a decision on and still have a grant for. We have an arena that, even though we have money and we got won the hockey bill, we still need things done to it. People have been waiting for recreation in this community for years and haven't happened. So I just wanted to bring those forward, that residents aren't very excited or looking forward to us putting in, if we don't take advantage of the $100,000 interest-free loan from the county, $350,000 and change for an upgrade to a building that seemingly is still standing and working. And I'm just bringing those thoughts forward. Thanks.
Thank you. I just like to say that I do know our library needs an update. And I know the county are really happy if we get on and do that update for them to make our library really a good place. Okay, Deputy Mayor Tellier? Yes.
Through the chair, thank you for those thoughts. I also know that we really would like to not have our roads flood and different things happen as well. And as residents looking outward, inward, they don't see this as a priority. And they don't see the value in upgrading a library that's already there, already has outdoor space in front, different things they can use, different places they can use within the months that are colder. Yeah, they're not seeing it and the value in it. And personally, I sometimes don't see it either. So I'm just a little worried about this project. And we have our towns that are very quiet, not a lot going on. And I feel the money could be used elsewhere.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I just might add, renovation to the library is not just the existing space, it is to use unutilized space within this facility. So the renovations is to expand the library into what was Service Canada, which now is not being used. By providing that renovation, it expands their square footage, then in turn increases revenue that we have that's turned back into this facility. The revenue generally covers the cost, so we are responsible for the upkeep, maintenance costs of this facility. And so that revenue helps to offset those costs. So that's just to make sure council is aware that the library in and of itself was to utilize empty space that's otherwise not being serviced. The other two is conversations council had previous to budget and then during budget while we had someone here. So recognizing where community may or may not. Hi, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that. Councillor Statham. Oh, Deputy Mayor Tellier, sorry.
Thank you again. And thank you for those thoughts. Yes. Sometimes when we look at things through one glass, we look through another glass and we see a different option. So a different option to me, I'm just thinking out loud, is I look at the Dutton Library. They have a separate closed off area for their programming. Why do we have to renovate an entire building? I realize the washrooms need to be. And why doesn't that become their programming area where the previous Service Ontario was, or not Service Ontario, my apologies, Employment Office was? Why are we, it's just right across the road, kind of like it is in the Dutton Library setup. There's a partition and they have their programming in a separate area than where the books and the activities are, or the activities being the hands-on activities that children can access anytime versus the programming activities. I'm not sure why we have to put all that money into the whole entire building. It just seems like a lot of money at this time when we are a struggling municipality and have a lot other things on our plates. I call them platters, really. It's a big platter is what we have going on, not a plate.
Well, that's for certain. Libraries are getting more and more popular, and I always thought it would be the other way around, but that's not the case. You know, with everybody having laptops, etc., they're coming to the library even more so, which is
Then that-
surprises me.
Then
You've
that
also-
employment office can be used for laptops, programming, anything else. It's right across the way. Just extend the library into there, but not
You've also-
refurbish the whole entire
You've also
thing.
been in this room when we've had council meetings, when you know that it's been inadequate, really, to hold that meeting. And we were trying to make it a better place for the public to come and sit and council to feel comfortable in that environment. And that was the reason that we wanted to do what we want to do.
I hear you, and through the chair, if I may, we have council meetings 2 times a month and once in the month of July, August, and December. I just don't see it as money well spent. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Statham.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I just want to be clear to Robin's point earlier. The additional revenue that we would, if I remember reading the report correctly, it's an additional $10,000 per annum. Is that correct?
If I may, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, for the use of space, the space which the library is regularly using, we are paying them per square footage, so estimated around 10.
So again, just for the people that are listening at home and so that this is clear for anybody that's listening, by increasing the square footage of the library from as it stands currently to what it would be if we went through with the renovations as presented, we would be looking at an annual increase in revenue of approximately $10,000.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I just see it seems to me a little bit more palatable if we're looking at a source of revenue, an increase in revenue, in addition to the benefits that it would provide for the council chamber, having more seating for residents when we have a full council chamber where we're having to tell people that they can't come in because we're exceeding the amount of people that can be here, and then updating the library, and then if we're also getting revenue on top of that of $10,000 a year and $100,000 interest-free grant. Again, I just want to make sure that it's all on the table before we go any further. Thank you very much.
Yes, Councillor Denning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair, and Deputy Mayor, thank you for your comments, and Councillor Statham. The last time we discussed this, I expressed my concern about these council chambers continuing to be council chambers when it was for many, many years a facility that the community could rent to have meetings and have access to the kitchen. And I expressed my concern that that was something that maybe we wouldn't want to lose permanently. And at the time, I think I also asked if the basement, which is underused, which does have an elevator, if it would be a space that could be considered for future council chambers as opposed to just sitting empty, or another space alternative to this. I understand that we have the Scout House. I understand that it's available for rent, but clearly the community's not interested in renting that. And my other question is, if we expand the library, is there space remaining that's not being used right now that could be council chambers, so that this space could go back to being available to the community to generate revenue? So I think that was at budget time that I brought that up. And so I guess to circle back, did anybody have an opportunity to look to see if the basement was a viable option for council chambers, so that this could go back to being an available community space?
Yes, please.
If I may, thank you, Councillor Denning. I think these conversations occurred before I sat in the seat. So we hadn't looked particularly to the basement as council chambers. Of course, that would then require us just to go back and look at what would be the cost to renovate the basement. Looking at the basement, knowing the size of the basement, I do have concern about the same sort of concerns, access for public. How do we how many people can be in the basement, because I don't believe it was the full square footage as we have here. So we certainly could explore that. This recommendation for this space was a renovation, to provide more sort of security and sound quality. Having an open gap in a door makes it a challenge for when we do have closed meetings. So we certainly could take it away to go to look at the basement to see what the cost would be to renovate that into an accessible council chambers.
Yes.
If I may, through the
Yeah,
chair.
please.
Thank you for that, Robin. Yeah, I just, and certainly I'm not set on the basement. I just think if it is a space that could be considered, it's worth considering. And from the folks that I've spoken to, particularly in the village, there's been certainly a lot of people that have expressed their sadness in not having this space for the meetings that they once did. And if there was a better spot that we could have our council meetings that would then make this space available once again to the community, I think it would be worth investigating.
Okay. Further questions? If one of the questions was, if we have renovations done, would we do them all at one or at one step at a time? So let's look at the library. Which I think is needed. And there's a number for the library. Have we got the number for the library renovation?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Direct you to the reports. The report notes that for the library renovation, so that would be the removal of the wall and then upgrading. And this is a minor renovation, but it would be for the library renovations, the sort of estimated would be the $159,000 or $160,000.
And we could utilize that 100 free loan.
And you still have
Interest-free.
access to the 100, yes, Mr. Mayor.
And it would give us extra income of 10,000 a year.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So I don't think we should just shut the page and forget the whole idea. I think we should be doing something. Yes, Councillor Denning.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. Certainly comfortable with supporting the library renovation, certainly comfortable bringing our washrooms up to code, but I'm not comfortable spending money in this room on council chambers when I think there could be a better use to this particular facility. So certainly the library and then the washrooms, I'm supportive of that, but hesitant to support spending money in this room to upgrade council chambers.
Okay. Anything further? Yes, please. Councillor Statham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To your point, Bill, I just want to be very clear. I don't want to upgrade. I'm not thinking that upgrading council chambers as an upgrade is what I'm looking for. I think what is important to me is making this space more accessible for members of the public to be here, because we've encountered several occasions over the last term where there was just not enough space, not enough seating. Members of the public want to be present. That's all I'm concerned with. These desks are fine with me. I'm good with these old chairs that are falling apart. That is fine with me. I don't want to see the space upgraded. I want to see it accessible. That's all I'm getting at. I just want to be clear about that point. Thank you.
Okay, anyone? Councillor Sousa.
So this is in regards to, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is in regards to the library. Do we have any numbers for the library? Are more and more people utilizing the library?
When I've talked to when I've talked to the county, yes, the numbers are going up and there is a need for the space.
That's positive. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Tellier.
Thank you for that, and through the chair, and thank you for everybody for your comments and the great discussion we're having. And Councillor Denning's point, and Councillor Souza, staff have those numbers. Were given to given those to us, I want to say maybe 10 months to a year ago. So I'm sure you can grab them from one of the staff if they'd be so kind. For the council chambers, I agree with Councillor Statham, council chambers. I will sit on a lawn chair before I'll get new chairs. That'll be interesting. But $110,000 for council chambers seems like a lot. And to his point that we haven't been able to fit people a couple times, maybe we should work on our skills on maybe anticipating that something's going to be that popular and have it at a different venue, such as, you know, a rec center or something else that has and will accommodate that amount of people. For the few times that it's happened since I've been on council, December of 2018, we've always just moved the venue so we could accommodate that many people. So I don't see spending $110,000 on upgrading and a larger council chambers. It's not me that I don't see. The money, $110,000 for council chambers to accommodate people for a few times. I want to accommodate people, but maybe we need to look ahead and change the venue at those times when it so rarely happens. I just don't see spending all that money to do that for the few times.
Well, I feel the jest of Councillor Sousa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Teresa. I mean, I think it's a lot of money. Like, we're spending a lot of money when there's other issues with our municipality, within our municipality. I mean, I think we should be very cautious. I mean, this room right here worked out for us. I don't see anything really wrong with it, other than the few times the number of people were in here. But that's a lot of money to swallow when we have stormwater issues and we have other major issues with our municipality, handicap parking, like other issues I really want us to investigate in the future. Thank you.
Okay. Well, the question was, if we're going to do the library, shall we do the washrooms and shall we do the thing? So it looks, by looking around council, that we just go with the library and washrooms to bring them up to accessibility, and that's the question answered. Deputy Mayor Tellier.
Sorry, once again, when were we to have AOD compliant washrooms? What was our time frame? I had the number in my head, but it's escaped me. My apologies.
Could you give her the date, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe the AODA accessibility for buildings of public spaces was 2025.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So we should and have to, as good due diligence, do the washrooms. So thank you. I wanted to know that.
So that's what I was suggesting. The library update and the washroom update, and leave the rest of the building to be decided. Could we put that in a recommendation, or can we not?
Yeah, do you want to maybe just take a quick minute break so I can go over this?
Yes, okay. We're going to take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back onto this, okay? Okay, we're back at the meeting again. And I'm still going to go. Is there any further questions on what we're discussing? Okay, first of all, Councillor Statham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, I just had one more question, and the $100,000 that we would receive interest-free from the county, would that still apply if we only proceed with the renovations for the library and the washrooms?
Mm-hmm.
If I may, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
The 100,000 actually only applies to the library portion because they're looking out of the interest of the services that they provide. So if we were not to renovate any other space and only the library, we would still apply for the 100,000.
Thank you.
Further questions? Deputy Mayor Tellier?
Thank you. Through the chair, just wondering about then, if we went ahead with the libraries, would be $60,000 left from the interest-free loan if we took advantage of it. And then the AOD washrooms, just to clarify, so the public knows we're being transparent, where on the budget line would that money come from?
If I may, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor,
please.
Council, at your deliberations of the 2025 budget, those costs were shown from building renovations, so from building reserves. So council we already put that forward as part of a project for 2025, and they were designated underneath building reserves.
Perfect. Sometimes I ask a question and I know the answer, but I think it sounds great for residents and staff too, to hear it from our CAO and our clerk to know exactly what's going on. So thank you. In case I'm in.
David, I see your hand up. Could you, please?
Yeah, I was just throwing the option out there. We could tender the project, including all three options and making one provisional as they go. And to see if the prices do come in lower, that decision can be made afterwards as well, if it's a provisional item on the tender. And depending, because I know for Spreet's pricing model here, it is on the high end. But as we go to move forward with this, there's just that option of making a provisional item on the tender as well.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Statham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you. I think that my feeling is that that is the way to go. Put it to tender, see what the costs come back at, and then make a decision after that. In my view, I think it'd be foolish to not go ahead with, we're going to save 20% right off the hop by doing everything all at once. We have an interest-free loan for $100,000 and we're increasing the revenue for the library. To me, it makes sense to do everything all at once. We're gonna have to do it anyways down the road. It might be 10 years down the road, it might be 15 years down the road, but eventually all of these spaces are gonna have to be upgraded. It's a municipal building. If the costs come back and they're reasonable, and we have all those ancillary benefits, it to me makes sense to do it all at once, get it done, save the 20%, and move forward. That's how I feel about it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Further comment?
Whole building.
What I'm saying is I would like to see what the tender comes back, as Dave said, see a breakdown of the costs with the renovation of this space as well as a provisional. And once we see the costs, then we can make a decision on what we want to proceed with. A refined estimate, not just something that's coming back from Spreet, but also from, put it to tender and see what contractors come back with.
David, did you want to speak again? Okay, he said it.
Am I capturing what you're
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
please.
So if I may, Mr. Mayor, what we're hearing the recommendation is council would like to proceed with the renovation and tendering of the library and the washrooms for AODA compliance. They would like to provisionally tender council chambers in order to make a decision of whether it's cost effective.
Yes,
Yes.
that's exactly how I feel. Yep. Thank you, Robin.
And then we're not rushing into anything, but we're still looking at the library in a positive way. Is there a recommendation there, please?
So. That West Elgin Council hereby receives the report from Robin Greenall, CAO, and that West Elgin Council directs staff to proceed with the recommendation to renovate the West Lorne Library and Accessible Washroom and to proceed with the provisional tendering process for the full project.
Okay. I need a mover, please. Councillor Statham. I need a seconder. Councillor Denning. I'm asking, is all in favour? I've got that. Thank you very much. That's carried. So we go to 11. Committee and board reports or updates. Seeing none. Notice of motion. None presented. Council inquiries and announcements. Deputy Mayor Tellier, re-Halloween at the old jail. Did you want to speak on that one, Deputy Mayor?
Through the chair, I can, sure. So for the past few years, too many, I can't remember. I've always asked permission to have staff open up the jail, and then I close it at night. And I am there between a set amount of time and greet the trick-or-treaters and let them see into the jail cells, which the dads get a big kick out of more than the kids, I think. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I'm asking if it's okay to staff to open it up again this year. And I believe between 5 and 7. I'd be there to hand out candy. I just buy candy and hand it out.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the children look forward to that, and they head that direction every year. So the next is correspondence. So yes, Councillor Statham.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and through you, I had a couple of items. Number one, I just wanted to make mention of the town hall meeting coming up on October 8th, and that is in support of the health center. So we've seen a number of cuts. One of our local doctors has retired, and I think it's important. Don did a great presentation at the last council meeting. And I would encourage anybody that's listening to listen to that delegation. I'm personally going to be attending the October 8th town hall meeting. It's at 6 p.m. So if anybody has any questions about that, they can reach out to me directly or any of the other councilors. But I think it's really important that we as a community show support for our healthcare services in this community. I feel like they're vital, and they're going to slip away from us if we're not supportive. So I wanted to mention that. That was one item.
Thank you. Well, I really hope all council will do their best to attend that.
Yeah, I will be there. Yeah. The second item?
Yes, please.
I just had a question that came up during the discussion that we had at the beginning of the council with a council meeting with our delegation. It's an inquiry. Terry, maybe you can comment on this. Do we have a registry for conflict of interest and pecuniary interest? Is there a registry available to the public?
There is. I can honestly say it hasn't been updated in the last couple months. That is something that is on the list to be done, but it is always on our website. And if anybody is asking, certainly you can direct them to either call me or email me, and I can send them the link exactly where to find it.
Perfect. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that's correspondence. Oh, you got us. Okay. Councillor Sousa.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick update. EDC committee met last Monday, the 22nd. We discussed our municipal rebranding project and its progress. More details on that front will be shared in the new year. We're also actively looking into applying for the HGTV hometown takeover. Fingers crossed that West Elgin gets lucky and comes out being selected. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that.
Philip, what kind of takeover are we talking about here?
Well, we have to apply, and we will see what gets selected. A committee will decide that. The community will.
Thank you.
Anything further? Okay, so what about these ones?
Anybody wants?
Yeah. The County of Elgin official plan. Hydro One notice of completion draft environment study report. Seeing nothing. So can I have a recommendation, please?
The recommendation is that West Elgin Council hereby receive and file all correspondence not otherwise dealt with.
Move it, please. Deputy Mayor Telly, seconded. Councillor Denning, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, so we go to 15.1, Councillor Statham, washroom access in Rodney.
So this was brought forward at last meeting as a notice of motion so today it's put on the agenda as a motion. As Councillor Statham mentioned, just looking at some options, directing staff to investigate options to provide washroom access in the town of Rodney. Councillor Statham, did you want to add anything further?
No, Terry, I mentioned at the last council meeting, I think essentially there's not really any public washrooms that are available. They used to be in the Old Town Hall. Currently, I think the community center has washrooms available during certain times. I think it would be something that we could look at. That's all I'm looking for.
Okay,
Thank you.
any questions on that? Okay, would you like to move that?
Yep, I'll put that motion forward, please.
Thank you. And seconder? Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. Upcoming meetings, and we got a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have added on here the meetings for the rest of the year, just for a little bit of pre-planning for all of council. So upcoming next week, we have a Tri-County Water Board meeting that's on Tuesday, September 30th, 7:00 p.m. We have an Arena Board meeting on Wednesday, October 8th, 9:00 a.m. And then our regular council meeting will be Thursday, October 9th at 4:00 p.m. Recreation Committee, Wednesday, October 15th at 7 p.m. Four Counties Transit, Monday, October 20th at 8:30 a.m. Another Tri-County Water Board, Tuesday, October 21st at 7 p.m. On October 23rd, we have a quarter revision at 3:30 p.m. followed by our regular council meeting at 4:00 p.m. Heritage Homes, Monday, October 27th at 1:00 p.m. Arena Board, Wednesday, November 12th at 9 a.m. And then again, in November, on the 13th, we'll have another quarter revision followed by our regular council meeting. So the quarter revision will be at 3:30 followed by our 4:00 regular council meeting. We have a tentative budget meeting for Tri-County Water Board on Tuesday, November 18th at 7:00 p.m. Recreation Committee is Wednesday, November 19th at 7:00 p.m. And then we will have our volunteer recognition evening, which will be held on Saturday, November 22nd. More details and times will be to follow. I believe we'll probably open the doors. I think the last year we did it at 5:00 p.m., dinner at 6:00, and ceremonies and awards at 7. I will confirm those details though. Heritage Homes, Monday, November 25th at 1:00 p.m. Our regular council meeting is Thursday, November 27th at 4:00 p.m. And Arena Board, Wednesday, December 10th at 9:00 p.m. And our final council meeting for 2025 will be Thursday, December 18th at 4:00 p.m.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so we go to 17, which is bylaws. 17.1, bylaw 2025-52, zoning amendment 13904 Graham Road.
That bylaw 2025-52 being a bylaw to amend the municipality of West Elgin comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2015-36 for property at 13904 Graham Road be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Sousa, all in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 17.2, bylaw 2025-53, the zoning amendment 22525, Pioneer Line.
That bylaw 2025-53 being a bylaw to amend the municipality of West Elgin comprehensive zoning bylaw number 2015-36 for property at 22525 Pioneer Line be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Statham, seconded. Councillor Denning, all in favour? That's carried. 17.3, bylaw 2025-54, Fleur and Drain Extension.
That bylaw 2025-54 being a bylaw to provide for drainage works on the Fleur and Drain extension in the municipality of West Elgin be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted.
Mover, please. Councillor Stewser. Seconded. Councillor Statham. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 17-4. Bylaw 2025-55, Mills Drain.
That bylaw 2025-55, being a bylaw to provide for drainage works on the Mills Drain in the municipality of West Elgin, be read a first and second time and provisionally adopted.
Mover, please. Deputy Mayor Tellier. Seconded. Councillor Sousa. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. 18. Confirming bylaw.
That bylaw 2025-56, being a bylaw to confirm the proceeding of the regular meeting of council held on September 25th, 2025, be read a first, second, third, and final time.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Councillor Statham. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you. Which brings us to adjournment.
That the Council of the Municipality of West Elgin hereby adjourn at 5:42 p.m. to meet again at 4:00 p.m. on Thursday, October 9th, 2025, or at the call of the chair.
Mover, please. Councillor Sousa. Seconded. Deputy Mayor Tellier. All in favour? That's carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.